Hi there, Chris Whelan from Chris Whelan Coaching here. Over the next few minutes, I want to talk to you about one of the mistakes that I see business owners making. And I've called this particular mistake the gold mine, or the hidden gold mine that most business owners miss. And it's really a question of not getting feedback. The gold mine that a lot of people miss is that they don't look for, they don't take, they don't enjoy feedback. And the problem with it, right, is that quite simply, most business owners don't realize quite how much they're missing by not seeking or not actively taking in feedback. And I guess for many of us, it's not just whether in business or otherwise, we don't, people often don't like feedback. Business owners often rely on gut instinct. Nothing wrong with, having a good instinct, but relying on gut instinct. They make assumptions and they wonder why customers leave or staff, get disengaged. And a disengaged staff member or disengaged customer that actually sticks around is frankly probably worse than one that leaves. So that's the problem. As I say, they don't take the feedback, they don't actually actively seek it out. And excuse me, there's probably at least three really big downsides to that, at least in my view. Number one, blind spots grow, right? Imagine you're driving your car and you're not looking at the proper mirror and you get a blind spot. If people don't take feedback, it's much the same. Blind spots grow. They don't see the real issues until those issues have cost them big time, whether it be in time or money or clients or rework, all of those things, right? So blind spots grow. Number two is that customers quietly leave. They disengage. Most unhappy customers don't complain. They don't give you the feedback. They walk out the door and cross their arms and off they go. And that's worse, frankly. Feedback is a positive thing. If people leave and they don't give the feedback, they're probably going to tell their friends anyway. And so your business is going to suffer. So blind spots grow, number one. Number two, customers quietly leave. And number three, teams disengage when they don't get feedback. When staff feel unheard or they feel that they're not really valued, they stop contributing because they don't believe that they've actually got a voice. And I've seen that again and again and again in business. It's a real problem. In fact, let me just tell you a quick story about, I don't know, make up a name. Let's call it Doug, right? A person that I know reasonably well, a refrigeration person, business owner that I work with. And just by the way, when I make these stories up, they are based on reality, but none of what I'm telling you is a real client. So there's no way you can identify it. So just to be clear on that. What Doug noticed is that customers were churning, but he couldn't pinpoint why. The team said, oh, everything's fine, everything's fine, everything's fine. No one really wanted to give him the direct feedback. So what we did was to run a quick NPS, Net Promoter Score survey. And the truth came out pretty quickly. Delays, slow quotes. There were three things: delays, slow quotes, and invoicing issues. Right? All things that really bug customers. And fortunately, Doug is coachable. Doug listened. He took action, he took fast action, called each customer, got onto the phone, each customer, and fixed the process. Right? By calling each customer, the customer was, wow, he's actually getting heard, or she's getting heard. The process getting fixed obviously prevents it happening in the future. The result of that is that retention absolutely rebounded. And more than that, Doug became known as the business owner who listens. Right? So his reputation as a caring business owner and as a caring provider of services actually increased. So it took a negative and spun it into a positive. I guess it's probably 4 or maybe 5 things that I think you need to think about or bear in mind, if you like, teaching points about this. Number one, feedback is a mirror. It's a mirror that can get held up to you. It shows you what's working and what's not. So feedback's a mirror is number one. Number two, it builds loyalty, as in the story I just mentioned about Doug. And number three, it energizes teams because employees who feel heard step up. They take action. They get involved. They don't step back. They step up. Number four, feedback must be structured. Right? Just feedback that's just hearsay or feedback that's vague really isn't helpful at all. And so, do better or service wasn't good enough. That's rubbish. Feedback that says, when I came into your store at 5 o'clock or 10 to 5, no one greeted me. I was made to feel unwelcome. I would really prefer you did X, Y, and Z. Of course, most customers aren't going to give you that detail. But as a business owner, you want to be getting to the detail. So it must be structured. It must be specific. It mustn't just be vague. If you need to use surveys, use pulse checks in your business and get reviews. Absolutely. Get out there and seek reviews, whether they be Google reviews or Yelp or whatever it is in your geography. And number 5, close the loop. Right? Feedback isn't a one-way thing. Tell people what you've heard so that you can confirm it with them, and what you've done. Right? So they know, is again in the story of Doug, got hold of the customers, fixed the problem, addressed it. You take a bad situation, spin it around. The reality is that when you embrace feedback, you unlock much, much smarter decisions, and you get stronger teams, and of course, as I've said already, loyal customers. You move from guessing, I suppose, I hope we did okay, to actually knowing what you did right and what you can improve. From fixing problems, of course, to actually preventing them in the first place. And of course, the other point is that all of this, we're in business, right? All of this means that your business is constantly improving, constantly listening, constantly responding to internal and external feedback. So I'm going to finish off with a challenge to you, if you like. What's the one question that you'll ask your team or your customers this week, right? The one question you'll ask your team or your customers this week about what they believe you've done right or done wrong, or how you could improve. Just one thing. Start small, but absolutely start today, because feedback isn't a threat. It's your most underrated, underutilized, almost certainly, growth tool. If you want more strategies like this, if they are of interest to you, if they're helpful to you, drop me a message. You'll have a link in the description below. Book some time in my diary. I would be absolutely delighted to have a conversation with you and see how we can get this right in your business. In the meanwhile, all the very best, and have a good week. Cheers.